All Hat, No Cattle. It's a song I wrote last time I was in Cody, Wyoming, and then hanging out in Montana for the songwriters festivals. I just feel like there's a lot of drugstore cowboys hanging out, and gave me the idea for this song. Also, as far as I know, this is the first time that musicians gotten the crew to sing along at Big Sky bonus track, so we're going to try it. Here we go. You can buy yourself a Ford or a Chevy truck, Stetson hat, and a big belt buckle, fine hand-tooled rawhide leather saddle. But it don't change the fact you're all hat, no cattle. All hat, no cattle. All hat, no cattle. All hat, no cattle. I think you know the type. That's right, that's right. He retired from Google at 43. Long days, long nights, he says they're getting to me. Bought himself a ranch 10 hours from Seattle. But it don't change the fact he's all hat, no cattle. All hat, no cattle, no cattle. All hat, no cattle, no cattle. All hat, no cattle. I think you know the type, that's right. If you're new to the country, let me show you around. Up is up, down is down. We can get a little surly with the profiteers. Dress however you like, but don't pretend you're from here. You're all hat, no cattle, no cattle. All hat, no cattle. All hat, no cattle. I think you know the type. Play one on the guitar, Jackson, okay? You can tell by the way I talk and spit, my hands a little too clean, my boots don't fit. I was born in California where the kids rap battle. Now I'm living in the country, all hat, no cattle. All hat, no cattle. All hat, no cattle. All hat, no cattle. I think you know the type. I'm gonna take it to the bridge, to the bridge. There's a certain kind of man that claims this land is his own. Ignores the fact he moved in just 100 years ago. Says he don't like change, outsiders or sinners. God just laughs and says you're good at pointing fingers. Good at pointing fingers. All hat, no cattle, no cattle. All hat, no cattle, no cattle. All hat, no cattle. I think you know the type. That's right. Yeah, I was just at the Yellowstone Songwriters Festival in Cody, Wyoming. Incredible festival. Really nice people, really great writers. Every round I did was very special. And when I say round, in case you're watching and you're not familiar with this, a songwriters round is common in Nashville, but kind of rare other places. But it'll be usually three songwriters sit in a line on stage, and you each take a turn playing a song, and then you kind of react to what the other person has presented or shared in their song. Sometimes you tell a story, sometimes not, but it's a very personal, intimate way to perform live music, and especially original music. And that whole festival is based on that premise, and it's very cool. I have a very weird zigzagging geography. I moved around a lot. I was born in Chicago. My family is from Oklahoma, and some are from Texas, but we moved to Southern California, then Northern California, and after 1 year of high school in Northern California, I shipped off to a boarding school in the middle of Colorado in what was then like a ranching town slash kind of ski-haw is how I would describe it. Like a lot of people, it's pretty close to Aspen and the ski area and all the stuff that brought. So Carbondale, where I live now, is where I've lived on and off since high school. But it was a bedroom community for Aspen, and it's since got more and more developed and busier, and like I said, kind of ski-haw. But it's a special place. I also lived in Vermont for 7 years, and I lived in North Carolina for 2 years. How has living different places influenced my music? I maybe feel like I unusually love a lot of different kind of people and cultures. Like I just love all sorts of things from all over the country, and I think maybe that's part of what's allowed me to write things that different kinds of people get into. When I go to shows, or I'm sorry, when I play shows, I find that there are a lot of different kinds of people that come, and my only guess is that because I'm kind of a mashup, my songs are kind of a mashup, and that lets some people see themselves in my music or connect with it, and I'm just grateful. I used to feel like a mutt, but now I feel like it's kind of a superpower. Kids on Crescent Drive comes from me growing up in California before I moved to Colorado, and I lived in like a suburb spot, but a river or a creek separated us from like the hood, and people were killed there all the time, and it was a really rough part of town, and it just always weighed on me that like I only lived on the nice part because I won the birth lottery. Like, if I had been born somebody else, I could have been over there living that life. And, what should I do with that? Just knowing that I got that fortunate. So the song Kids on Crescent Drive is about guilt and gratitude. Gunshots every night or something you can get used to. The Bloods and Crips in Whiskey Gulch all had something to prove. The 101 is howling with a diesel lullaby. The criminals I've come to fear are wearing suits and ties. We slept fine. The kids on Crescent Drive. Every morning paper had a tally of the dead. No obituary, just a number, nothing said. Late at night, the gun smoke tasted like 4th of July. You can't talk a child out of knowing wrong from right. And somehow we slept fine. The kids on Crescent Drive. Lady Luck is shining on the few. Just another fact of life, I'm told, to get you used to. But it could have been me on the east side of the creek, running from gunshots, making money selling weed. But instead I got lucky. I got lucky. I got lucky. The agents came and locked the gold-toothed boys up. Hard time. The they sold their land off and just called it reassigned. And somehow we slept fine. The kids on Crescent Drive. Some of my influences, obviously they're famous people on the list. We love that, and we'll just go for them right now. Todd Snyder, John Prine, Townes Van Zandt, Tom Waits, and so many more. I used to listen to a lot of hip-hop, which I honestly think is part of why I like lyrics so much. But I had these friends in college, Amelia Meath and Trevor Wilson, and then John Kirk, great music teacher, and my high school music teacher, George Weber. And all those people really shaped me because those were real, like, personal relationships, and you could go to them and ask musical questions, and learn from them and sing with them and practice your thing. And they were all writing their own music too, and that kind of got me sparked and doing my own thing. Being a musician and having a family is very hard. I would not recommend it to anyone, even though I love it. I'm very grateful. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I'm married. And it's all going great, but being gone is no way to raise a kid. It's no way to have a marriage, and it will test you. And so if you have another choice in life, I would go with that one. But if you don't, and you're called to it, and you make stuff, and something is working, you can make it work. But yeah, it's something you have to really proactively fight and make time for. I have to schedule calls, my family, make sure I'm not away from home for too long. I have to turn down a lot of work, which I do happily because family is important to me. Jericho's Diamonds, this song came from me writing a lot of songs with veterans as a form of music therapy for them, written 30 or 40 songs with different veterans, and it's a cool experience. And then got me thinking about my own family history and my grandpa being a veteran, and how I hadn't explored any of that in song. So I decided to sit down and write it. And this is called Jericho's Diamonds. At the corner of Choctaw and Cherokee land, grandfather calloused and cracked both his hands, climbing the ladder one rung at a time. Well, grandmother danced with her pills and cheap wine. Love makes you crazy, love makes you work. His eyes on some comfort, but his hands in the dirt. Honest as heaven, true as the rain. He dreamed of the fine things he'd give her someday. Jericho's diamonds, you know the kind. It's not about greed, it's all about pride. Showing the world that you came here to shine. Jericho's diamonds, he dreamt them each night. One child of 9, he was orphaned at 12. Took care of his kinfolk and raised them himself. Then the big war came round and he worked building ships. Drove rivets through steel with American grit. When the white flag was waved, he came home to the West. Started his own shop and hoped for the best. Jericho's diamonds, you know the kind. It's not about greed, it's all about pride. showing the world that you came here to shine. Jericho's diamonds, he dreamt them each night. Well, he got what he wanted, and you knew that he would. Through decades of being the best man he could. But heaven did call, and he died in his sleep. Grandma's sure lonesome, but she lives like a queen. Jericho's diamonds, you know the kind. It's not about greed, it's all about pride. Showing the world that you came here to shine. Jericho's diamonds, he dreamt them each night. Jericho's diamonds, he dreamt them each night. Like the stars in the sky.